Do it.
Live. Hello and welcome everybody to the South Florida Storm Chasers live podcast. This is episode number 4. Your host, Morgan Guigon, founder and owner of South Florida Storm Chasers, and we have with us today Christopher Estep, founder and owner of Westside Storm Chasers. Welcome, Chris.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Now, we originally were going to have more than a multitude of things to discuss here, but right now we're looking at a severe weather threat in your area tomorrow and today. How do you feel about this severe weather threat?
It'll be significant. It's got a lot of energy to produce tornadoes and hail. Also concerned for the safety of the other folks, especially down south and towards Virginia. West Virginia. So just pray for the safety of everyone and just keep everyone up to date. And make sure, hopefully, no one gets injured.
Right now we're going to switch on over to the model runs and see exactly what is going on right now. First, we will look at the Storm Prediction Center and see what they are saying. They are already a day 2 moderate risk for the area with a 45% hatched area. This is the beginning of a very significant event. As we can see, we have in the hatched area Columbus, Cincinnati, Louisville, Bowling Green, Charleston, and Pittsburgh, Washington, and Baltimore, all within this hatched area. But in the 45% risk area is Charleston, West Virginia, Lancaster, Ohio, Lexington, Fayetteville, Kentucky. This is very, very significant with more than enough people in its path. And right now, I think what we need to worry about is here we have some insane photographs. Right now, you have the sounding showing no cap. It's just going to go crazy. This is at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Plenty of turning in the atmosphere. This is just insane, especially for this area. Right now, this is just south of Columbus, not very far. And right now, you can see one of the areas that they highlighted is right here, Lancaster, which is just outside of Columbus, not by far. So as you can see, very significant. And we can look over here, go Lancaster, Ohio, and we'll actually do some of this to Columbus. A little bit of fun that you can do with this. It is only 31 miles outside of Columbus. Very only 37 minutes. Very, very significant to be this close to an area and be in the moderate risk. So right now, what we can expect is large hail, and especially coming off of the ETS that should be overnight, we can definitely see this, absolute damaging hail threat. And it should ride off of a morning MCS, a multi-convective system coming out of Indiana at the time, which we have over on the other tab. And I will switch you guys over there in a second. Let's see me first. Over to Twitter, where this is. Right now, you can see at 12 a.m. tonight or 12 a.m. tomorrow, you can see this MCS system, central Indiana, very big, moving through Indianapolis around that 12 a.m. time. And this should be moving very quickly into Columbus. And after this moves through, we should see rapid destabilization of the atmosphere. And going with that, a more than significant amount of heat, all these other factors that should allow for this to be a very significant day. So if I'm looking at all of this, Chris, what do you think?
by looking at that, yeah, it's. I mean, like on Sunday, we're talking about. We're in a hatched area as well, so people need to be on the lookout. Get their weather radios on, and get ready for safety
And
because like I'm seeing as well as you are. There's plenty of energy twisting and turning. So no doubt there's gonna be some rotation. So everybody just keep safe and all the chasers out there make sure they stay safe.
and actually
So
something
go ahead.
to see, we actually have heard from Lee Timmer of tvnweather.com, who is in New York right now, that he will be leaving the car and heading for your area tomorrow to chase this severe weather threat. That is definitely significant for you and tells you a lot about this. And then you can also see this is a time that we encourage people to get the Storm Shield app, which we're not paid to say this or anything. No, no, it's the wrong screen. The wrong screen. But there we go. That's good. Get back. No, stop. No. There we go. We encourage people to get the Storm Shield weather radio app, which is one of the best, and we've heard a ton of things about this, not only from them, but from people. And as we see, here's a testimonial. The Storm Shield app last year paid off. One of the tornadoes touched down less than 1,000 feet from me, and multiple alerts I received from this app kept me in the know and safe from danger. As I watched the tornado bail down on me, I was able to respond to the warning alert and watch the live coverage right from the app. $4.99 is well worth it. If you don't have it, get it. It could save your life. This is one of the best apps out there for telling you, and it has been a lifesaver. It has showed that it turns around, and it's been ahead of actually some of the sirens in events, and this is probably one of the most valuable ones that I've personally seen, and I encourage a lot of people that I know to get it. And your battery life, you can get it right inside of it. It's going to get a storm-based alert right side. If all the alerts are based on the storm-based alerts, you're not going to receive an alert if you are not inside of that polygon for the warning. And that is absolutely amazing. And it can have it so that it will follow you as you travel around and will issue warnings to you specifically from where you are. So this is one of the apps that we highly encourage everybody we know to get. It is well worth the $4.99. And especially during a time like this where you have a significant severe weather risk in an area that typically doesn't see it, people aren't going to be ready, and you want to keep them ready by having things such as this in place. And this is one of those great things that we have, and we encourage everybody to get it. And as you guys see this, no wait, oh wait, I'm not screen sharing. I thought about that. So here, that's that. Done my little advertising probe there. Right now, we also are going to go over the models to see exactly where we want to chase tomorrow. And even though I will not be chasing, I know that Chris will be out in the field providing up-to-the-minute weather coverage to get as much information as we can to the public. So right now, I am just pulling up some models behind the screen. Right there, let's get this up. Here we go. So right now, here you have the instability for tomorrow at 2 o'clock from the NAM. The NAM is known to ramp up instability pretty high, but this is one of the times where I would believe it. Right now you see instability right in this area, just about 35 to 4,000 joules of CAPE. This is absolutely insane amount. And as this stuff moves through, it is going to feed and feed off of this energy. And we're also looking at West Virginia, that you can see in these 3 hours from 2 to 5, CAPE ramps up an extreme amount. And so it does also in Ohio, where you can see 5,000 CAPE right in southeast Ohio. And then late into the night, around 8 p.m., this threat's finally moving out and into West Virginia, where you still have these extreme amounts of CAPE. And this is just one of those days where you never know what's going to happen, and especially with the amount of rotating in the air and energy available. We also have here the EHI, which is one of the energy helicity index, which will tell you, and even though we can't see it that well because it makes stuff, let's see if we can zoom in on it. Here we go. Let's do a little bit of zoom. Yeah. Didn't need to do that. Yeah, back. You have almost, you can see that light green is just a 1. You can see in the area just to the, I'll find out exactly. Just to the southwest of Columbus, you have extreme amounts of EHI. And as we look at it, that's easily into the 3s and 5s, which is extreme. You don't see this often in Tornado Alley, nevertheless in Ohio Valley. And we also here will check one more thing. The surface heights of these storms. These are all going to be surface-based storms, which is exactly what you want. These storms aren't going to be elevated at all. They are going to be based right at the surface and feeding off of this extreme amount of CAPE. At the same time, we'll look at some shear just to make sure. Shear, once again, everything is pointed just southwest of Columbus, but this could change in the morning. But right now, the models are pointing southwest of Columbus. Shear is in the hundreds. This is insane. You know, you don't see this very often. You can also see here shear in the 70s and 80s. This turning is extreme. Hard to even find this in Tornado Alley. Right now, we can also just do a quick look at the storm motion, and you can see that it's going to be generally east. It's going to be generally from the east to the west, from the west to the east, excuse me. And again, putting areas such as Baltimore and Maryland in the point for this later into the night. Now we can also, we're not going to look at the composite reflectivity because that normally doesn't help us, but we can look at the relatively vorticity. Here you can see plenty of turning in the atmosphere. The vertical velocity, 925 millibars. Again, plenty. And where is it? Just southeast of Columbus. Now we can look at the dew point at the same time. The dew point is in the upper 70s. Very, very moist atmosphere. You can also look at the same time in the precipitable water, which is, and this is one area that we are just a tad bit not great about, is in the 2 to 3 inch range, which gives plenty of moisture, but that means that any tornadoes that are put down are more than likely going to be wrapped in rain and easily taken out of the picture because of this. But at the same time, this will allow for very large hail and stronger winds due to the collapse of the storm with all this moisture. And now we can look at the mixing ratio also. You can see, again, very, very moist. very, very moist. The temperature also at this time, you can see it will be in the 80s, upper 80s, and this is very, very good. This will help once that MCS clears out. This will rapidly destabilize the atmosphere and allow for just one of the probably most significant severe weather days so far in the Ohio Valley. Right now, surface wind very light. That is very good for this area. And you can see this is going to be one of those days where it is going to very rapidly go from a good day to an explosive day where you do not know what to expect next. So, Chris, what is your plans on how to chase tomorrow?
Well, I mean, I get off to work at 7 in the morning. I'm sure things are going to be pretty active then. You know, I've got another person going with me, and my plans are just head south, towards Chillicothe, and pretty much start from towards Chillicothe and start from there. And chase a little towards Columbus. As the afternoon into the early evening goes on. Um, but just make sure I just pray for our safety, pray for everyone else's safety. But that my plan is to start south and work my way up northwest towards the storm.
And right now,
And just
on the other
go ahead.
tab behind the scene, this is something that a lot of people don't see, but this is what I see. Right now, I am comparing the distances around from Columbus to other specific target areas that we are currently looking at. And we're doing this to help you out so that, because we understand, you have to work, everybody knows that, work, you can't always chase. So behind the scene, we're just comparing this. And right now, it looks like, due to the change in model runs, going south works, but at the same time, it looks like, personally, I'm going to say southwest of, southeast of Columbus is looking best due to these past model runs. And what I'm thinking is, and I'll now share this. Here you can see now what I'm seeing. Right now this is an hour drive south from Columbus to Chillicothe, and at the same time, compared, it is only 45 minutes to Rockbridge, Ohio, which is considerably closer, but at the same time, this is putting you in an area that is highlighted by the Storm Prediction Center, specifically Lancaster, and as you get farther southwest, you get into this more highlighted region. So right now, and, well, one more thing, this also puts you in an area that is not as highly populated. You can see there's only a few towns, Logan, but there's plenty of roads also that get you into these open areas that allow for great photography. But we are missing one thing, and that is to look at this from an Earth view to see what it really looks like. Now, do we notice upon with Rockbridge, Ohio? What do you think, Chris? Looking at this, do you see any problems?
No, I don't actually. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a less populated area. I can head over there, and start there. It is a less populated and more roads for escape when something does happen. And I mean it. I take the photography, but also I also want to help people as well. But Yeah, I can see plenty of escape routes. I can see that there's not very many places.
Yeah,
So,
farther,
um,
the closest kind of bigger town is just Logan to the southeast a little bit more. Right now, as we zoom in,
yeah,
looking and trying to see
there you
the
go.
because one of the big things that you're looking for is to get this vantage point of, as I zoom out, of a vantage point to the northwest, because that is where the storms are going to be coming from the northwest and the west, which is where these storms are going to be coming from. And right now it looks like
Okay.
Rockbridge, which looking at a good target, it's embedded in this area of trees, which you kind of lose around Circleville. But you are in
Yeah,
the middle
that's
of a wildlife and wilderness area. So, according to this, I'm going to stick with Rockbridge, Ohio as a target area, and most likely, plenty of road networks to get you through the area. These little road networks are going to help, and probably going to see if we can work our way into this area generally, which isn't too far from Rockbridge, and mostly for the photography and escape route of it. But at the same time, this should be able to work as a target and also let you see some nice scenery at the same time.
yeah, it does look nice. I'm just, you know, the only thing that concerns me, you're right, that all that moisture in the air, with the high dew point. I mean, worry about the, just make sure I gotta keep an eye out for those rain rat tornadoes if one touches down. I mean,
Yeah,
as
and
long as I get
between
a
that
far view.
between that and the fact that there is going to be very large hail, we're looking at hail 3 to 4 inches in diameter, and that is just devastating hail. And one of those will easily take out a windshield, and especially in an area like this where you're going to see, stuff, but it's going to be in trees, it's going to be in rain. You don't want to end up like that in this, you know, more shaky situation. So Rockbridge right now is holding out and should allow for good photography options, using the trees and nature as a wonderful backdrop. It looks absolutely fantastic. Some of these photos going to be, here, look, you have beautiful photos of this area, but you do see this one problem. Looking from the road, you don't have very good option. And right now, this is north, so this is northwest. You can see right now options to look around very limited. So if you get yourself into one of those situations where you're embedded in one of these storms, it's going to be a dangerous situation, but you're doing it in order to keep others safe. And we'll actually take a look here. There we go, jump down to one of these roads. Thank you, Google. You can see again a lot of these high tree bases that are going to impede the looks, but at the same time, some beautiful photography is going to be able to be taken from this. And there's plenty of areas to pull over and just get out to take this photography. So this will be one of those days where we're going to want to stay a little bit farther from the storm to make sure that things such as that do not get in the way. But at the same time, we're going to try to, of course, get in here. There we go. Jump down. There we go. Behind the view. Here you can see, again, this looks like a little bit of a better area that as we slowly travel down, let's get that. Here we go. Little bit of a better area, but again, there's good escape routes. Well, hi Google. 14 Google, all over the place. Grass. You,
That would be a good view right there.
yeah, you have these great options for photography that will allow for, great shots to
But
be taken, especially in areas like this.
I just I just worry about the high trees
Yeah, and those high
a
trees
little bit.
should present.
With a significant wind shear and all that.
Yeah, and especially since it's a day where you can say with a fair amount of confidence that we are going to see tornadoes. Uh, you also say at the same time, if we're going to see it, how well are we going to see it? Are we going to see it for long, or is it going to disappear into trees and become rapid rain? That is something that we may not know until early that morning, where we should be able to really see how it pans out. Right now, I'm also behind the scenes. People don't see this. Uh, on my phone, looking at what others are saying about this severe threat, so that we can always make sure to have more than one perspective on it. And the fact that it is going to be a significant day is something that you don't like to say often, but is something that you're going to have to say for this day.
Yeah,
So another question
not that
is,
far from Columbus neither.
yeah,
So
and
I
Columbus needs
mean,
to be
like
on
you
their
said,
toes
Columbus
for this one,
Columbus is all
because
in hot here.
this is one of those events where, because of how significant it is, everywhere that's in even the slight risk area needs to be on their toes. Not that far from these major cities, and especially like Columbus, that morning MCS could be something big. But at the same time, we understand that people need to be out there to be first responders, especially in a day like tomorrow where newscasters haven't talked about it much, mostly due to the futurecast models giving two different solutions, one of which being a bust and one of which not being a bust. So right now, you need chasers out there that are going to be reporting live to these stations and helping people stay alert. And making sure that also people behind the scenes, another thing, quickly pulling up the number to U.S. office, and I think that area is, yeah, is Wilmington. And why am I doing this? It is to allow for you to pull them in the event that you you need to you have you're tracking one of these. You can call them directly and tell them, and that is one of the really big things that is needed. And I'm trying to find this. It's a lot easier on the NWS Miami page because I know it like the back of my hand. I think I have that number. Yeah. And you'll want this number specifically for tomorrow, and I'll send it to you. This is a number. This is the number directly to their office, which we encourage people to, especially chasers, find the number to your local NWS office and have it so that they are able to know directly from you that, here's a report, this is a chaser directly in the field, and that they're finding it directly from you. Now, at the same time, we can also quickly discuss, you know, how is this day going to pan out? We're thinking because of the early morning yes, rapid destabilization, and all these other things should allow for a very significant day. Said it before, we will say it live. We'll say it when, Chris is out there, he'll be reporting live. You know, we sadly won't have any teams out there because one of ours just flew out of Indianapolis for Texas for family issues, and that was our last team in the area available to chase. The others are in Canada, good old Canada. So right now, this is one of those bigger days where we know that having just one person out there will be probably a lifesaver. So we also understand that from a conversation you and I had before this podcast started, that you haven't slept much. We respect that. We're going to let you go now so that you can go and rest up, because you do have to work through the night, I understand, so that you can be well rested and ready for tomorrow, for probably one of the biggest days of the year so far for the Ohio Valley, and for numerous straight hours of chasing by you. So thank you for joining us, and I'll personally be in touch with you tomorrow as you chase, and in the morning have an update for you on exactly what is going on and a new target area, most likely, which will more than likely be the same area as you are currently getting ready to deploy to. So thank you for joining us, Chris.
Thank you for having me, Morgan.
No problem. So that was Christopher Estep, owner and founder of uh, Westside Tornado Chasers, who will be in the area tomorrow chasing this upcoming system. And we encourage everybody to have the Storm Shield app, and also at the same time get ready for a potentially very dangerous day tomorrow, including hail, strong winds, and the possibility for a couple of strong tornadoes. So thank you for watching. We always encourage you. We will be doing this once a week. We encourage you to come and join us for up-to-the-date weather information and discussion from both me and our special guest, Chris. And we definitely encourage you guys to come and watch, and at the same time, always be weather aware, and especially for these next few days, be weather aware. After this, which we didn't discuss much, we should also be looking at a few days of, not a few days, but like a week or 2 weeks or so of quiet weather in the United States as cold air invades the center of the country again following this system. So it was a pleasure doing this podcast. Thank you to all of you for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you. Have a good day.